camera opens not on peace but on chaos. Water surges, fences bend, and the world those neighbors thought was safe begins to wash away. And at the heart of it all, one man stands still, his eyes fixed, his silence louder than any storm. This is the story of how 35 houses were built on his land, how every plea was ignored, and how one act of quiet defiance changed everything. They laughed when he warned them. They called him stubborn, outdated, a man clinging to land no one thought mattered. Yet here they stood, rows of shining homes, perfect lawns, and proud banners, all built on the soil that had been his family's for generations. And when they mocked his silence, when they paved over the very earth he had bled to defend, they did not see the quiet fire building inside him. Elias was no ordinary landowner. He had served 2 tours overseas, carried brothers home who never saw the sunrise again, and buried his own dreams beneath folded flags and silent salutes. When he came back, the land was all he had left. Acres his father had taught him to plow. Soil where his mother had planted wildflowers to honor those who never returned. That land was memory, duty, and bloodline. It was not for sale. But to the Homeowners Association, it was just space. Space for 35 new houses. They drew up their plans, pushed papers through courts, and smiled at meetings where his voice was silenced by procedure. Neighbors who once shook his hand now avoided his eyes. They signed contracts while whispering that Elias would not fight back. After all, he had nothing left but quiet. Still, quiet does not mean weak. Every evening, Elias walked the perimeter of his land. He listened to the earth under his boots. He touched the old stone markers his grandfather had set, still standing like sentinels. And when the first walls of the new houses rose, he did not shout. He did not beg. He simply watched. Behind his silence lay a truth they had forgotten. His land was more than fields. Running deep beneath it was the dam, built generations ago to protect the valley. His father had shown him the old gate, rusted but strong, where the water gathered, waiting. Elias kept it tended, knowing one day it might matter. And now it did. The HOA celebrated their finished homes with ribbon cuttings and speeches. They never invited him. They never asked permission. They only said he was lucky to live near progress. Progress, they called it. Houses on stolen ground. One evening, when the valley grew quiet and the sky glowed with the first hint of storm, Elias walked alone to the gate. He rested his hand on the cold iron. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he whispered words only the water would hear. This land remembers. And so will they. The lock gave way with one turn. The dam opened. And the water, held for decades, surged forward. It raced across the fields, winding through the hollow, sweeping into the land that had been taken. The neat fences bent. Lawns turned to rivers. 35 houses watched their proud foundations tremble. Elias did not smile. He did not cheer. He only stood there, watching the truth wash over the ground that had been his. His silence was his answer, his dignity, his shield. When the water settled, there was no victory speech, only the stunned eyes of neighbors who finally understood. They gathered not in anger, but in shame. Some whispered apologies. Others bowed their heads. For the first time, the crowd was quiet, because silence was the only respect left to give. In that stillness, Elias turned and walked away. His steps were heavy but steady, like a soldier leaving the field one last time. And as he disappeared beyond the ridge, a single truth lingered in the valley. A man who gives his silence is not defeated. He is choosing the moment when silence becomes strength. Elias never returned to argue, never demanded repayment. He didn't need to. The land had spoken for him, and the water had carried his message farther than any words could travel. In the end, justice was not a shout in a meeting room, but a river flowing where it was meant to flow. And for everyone who watched, one lesson remained. Silent honor will always outlast stolen ground. Some battles are not fought with noise, but with quiet dignity. Elias's story reminds us that respect cannot be paved over, and silence is sometimes the loudest answer of all. Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts below, and if stories of silent strength speak to you, subscribe for more.